I think we've come to a place where we understand that evangelism is something done by the church instead of individuals to individuals. So that's been a huge help for us. So our church, as I said, not a huge church. I mean, the area that we're in here, we've done some demographics and estimate at least 98% of people have no church connection. So with a church of 300 adults, 150 kids, we're not a large church, but we're probably one of the largest churches in the area. That's one of the sad and depressing things about urban areas. And I guess as you guys travel around, there's quite a difference between the UK and the US in that sense. Mm-hmm. But most of the people in our church are made up of people who are unchurched. And we've got lots of new Christians. When I say unchurched, they're people who maybe have some distant connection to church. Having said that, in the UK, most people have got a distant connection to church somewhere. But we really haven't had any evangelistic training. We don't have evangelistic programs. We don't teach on evangelism. And we found that the less we do that, and the more we focus on being a community who are trying to do life together following Jesus, that has been a natural process of evangelism. Mm-hmm. And when we interview people who've either become Christians, been baptized, or entered into the life of the church, when we say to them, you know, why are you here and how did you come to faith, or whatever form of faith that you have, they'll say something which is probably no surprise to any of you guys, that it's through relationship. So if we can provide a place where people can have relationships with Christians who are trying to do life and resource that way of doing life by following Christ, then we become a resource to our community. So essentially that's what we're trying to do with our evangelism. Probably one way to summarize that would be to say we've moved from an understanding of evangelism as a one-off singular event for people to give propositional assent to something, to evangelism as a relationship and a process and a conversation. And there are many more aspects to evangelism than just giving people, you know, proof texts or truths about Christianity. So in our community, we'll talk about, instead of Christianity being life after death, it's about life now. So many gospel messages are about what happens when you die. It's a gospel for eternity, that life begins after death. Whereas what we're trying to say is that the gospel is about the inbreaking of the kingdom of God and doing life now. So it's a change in our motivation. It's not how to get out of hell, but it's how we can actually get through life. And we believe there are eternal consequences to life. That who we are and the way we live our life now has eternal consequences. And that still brings in an element of risk and consequence, and an imperative as a community to say it's not okay for everyone to just do what they want and live how they want. There are eternal consequences to how we live, and the way that we find out what those consequences are and how to order our lives differently are located in a relationship with Jesus. So some similarities, but just I think a different way of expressing that, but mostly through invitation, inviting people into an exploration of that.